Welcome witches, wizards, and muggles alike to another episode of Espresso Patronum, a series where I review the magical world of Harry Potter as I read the books for the very first time. Today I will be reviewing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Ah, so cool! Okay, so before anybody gets their panties in a wad that it's taken me this long to review the book and to put a video about this book out, hear me out. I finished this book about 2 months ago, or yeah, two and a half months ago. It took me a while to read this book just because, one, I'm a slow reader, and two, I really have to sit down and specifically have the energy to read a book. So even though this lovely thing is super easy and the pages are like super easy to get through, it just takes me a while to read books. And because this book is chock full of so much stuff, it took me a while to really get my thoughts together about this book review and then make a good video for you guys, because I don't want, like, there's too much detail to like just skip over, and so I wanted to give you guys a good quality video, if that makes sense. So getting that out of the way, I just wanted to mention on June 26th the first Harry Potter book came out, and it was a great celebration, and I had really thought that if I could finish reading all the books by that date, that would have been a crazy way to celebrate it, but did not happen, so sorry about that. But yeah, it's been 20 years for the Harry Potter universe. Woo! So thank you, Joe, for creating such a magical world that we can escape to and relate to. So with that being said, let's get started. So first we're going to talk about the most important person in this book, and that is Miss Ginny Weasley. I forgot that Ginny is really essential. I knew that she did stuff, but I didn't remember how it all played out. So actually when I was reading the book, I was really annoyed with Ginny. I thought she was super sensitive and she just kept crying and just wailing like and stuff like that. And I just thought, oh, she's so annoying. Why do they even mention her, you know? But it's important that you mention her because, you know, spoiler alert, she's the one who did all the deeds that Voldemort asked her to do, and she's the reason why so many people were petrified. That's how past Voldemort Tom Riddle was able to figure out who Harry was. And I made so many comments and notes about, like, oh my god, she's so sensitive, she's so annoying, like, girl, you're so 2D, oh, you're so blah, 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 blah. And then I remembered, I was like, oh man, she's the reason why this stuff is happening. My bad, girl. Still hot. I'm so glad that I forgot about Lucius Malfoy put Tom Riddle's diary in her book bag at Diagon Alley, and then she started writing and blah blah blah, you know, it all unfurls from there. I'd like to apologize, Ginny. I'm sorry I said that you were 2D, bland, and very annoying. You had a hard time, girl. First year, hard for Harry, Ron, Hermione, and now you. Lo siento. In this book, you learn more about the separation and segregation of muggles and humans, and that there's, you know, the muggle world and then there's the wizarding world. Unless you have a child that is a witch or wizard, you don't know about the wizarding world. And there's like this like whole balance of like purebloods and mudbloods, which is an awful thing to call someone. The reason why I focused mostly on this topic, mudblood, you know, they explain it's a dirty word to call someone who is not a full-blood wizard or witch. I just thought, well, why would they call them mudbloods? I guess muddy blood, like it's just intermixing and stuff like that. And the topic came up, I think, on what page? On page 116, Ron says it's a disgusting thing to call someone dirty blood, that it's ridiculous, and that most wizards these days are half-blooded because if they hadn't married muggles, they would have died out. It's a heavy theme going on because Malfoy has the idea that the monster or the basilisk is killing everybody because they are not full-blooded witches or wizards. These kids are 12 years old and they're talking about how pure or not pure a witch or wizard is because of their parents, and that it is a reason to die or be petrified. It's a very reflective thing in our real life, and it's just J.K. Rowling really captured that well, and I still have a lot of questions, which is why I bring it up. So I can't wait to learn more about that over the course of the series, because I know I have so many questions right now and they will be answered later on. So another thing that this book reminded me of was the Perseus and Medusa mythology story, the Greek mythology story. It's the whole thing where we have our hero, Perseus, Harry Potter, and then he's going to go kill this monster, Medusa or the basilisk. The same similar situation where if you look at Medusa and her hair and the eyes, then you turn into stone, kind of like everybody else becoming petrified. And that was a golden nugget that I was very happy to read about and just to make that connection, because I was like, genius. Like with this book especially, I see all the like narrative influences of this book, and it's quite indulgent for moi because I love mythology and history stories, and it's like, this is cool. So Machiavelli's idea of whether it's better to be loved or feared popped up to me at the end of the book when Tom Riddle is talking about like being the greatest wizard and why Harry is so popular and his hatred for Dumbledore. It's that kind of idea of being either loved or feared is a thing that continues on throughout the book. I mean, of course, obviously Voldemort wants to be feared than loved. He is revered by the people who support him, but they're also terrified of him. It's just this continuing tug of war back and forth to be loved, to be feared. Like the reason why Tom was going after Harry and trying to lure Harry back to the Chamber of Secrets was so curious on how a tiny little baby could defeat this incredibly dark wizard. Dumbledore and Voldemort, I feel like, are at a crossroads. Not so much Harry being contested, but it's Dumbledore and Voldemort being contested on who's the greatest wizard. And that's always kind of like been a theme even in the past. That just leads to the ultimate question of what makes the greatest wizard, or who is the greatest wizard, because there has been a history of people trying to claim that title, like who is it, and it's going through the different means of being either loved or feared to get there. All these themes that are coming on, yeah, most of this book is just themes. So this next portion I'm gonna have to read from my computer because I had so many random questions, not even concerning the plot of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, but concerning the wizarding world itself. When you denome a garden, where do the gnomes go? Is there such a thing as magical physics, like regular physics but concerning magic, like force and power and all that stuff? In the Harry Potter universe, what does a vampire look like? Are they monsters or part of wizarding society? Later on, Remus is a werewolf and he's a professor, but what about vampires? Who was the first wizard ever, and how did magic come about? If I turned into a cat, would I have cat-like tendencies? Did Justin have to repeat the second year because he had been petrified for most of it? Do you get held back because of that? This isn't just a question, but this is a comment. Like, Tom Riddle literally found out some of the letters in his name created the words "I am Lord," and whatever letters he had together, he just jumbled them up, threw them out, and was like, oh my gosh, Voldemort, that's what I'm gonna call myself. He's like, you don't think I'd keep my father's dirty name? And I'm like, well, bro, you kinda did. You just rearranged it. So those are just general questions that I had. I don't know if anyone can answer those for me, or I'll just go look at Pottermore to check them out. So the sections for things that make more sense and things that don't make as much sense anymore are very short because I had more questions than actual, like, oh yeah, this makes sense, because, you know, the whole book was pretty much the same as the movie. One of the things that really made sense to me was Mr. Filcher and the Squib Life, that he takes quick spell lessons that sound a lot like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, like witch by mail lessons or wizard by mail lessons. I always wondered why he was there, but he never seemed to express any magical powers, and that is why it's explained in the book that he's a squib. So he does have magical parents, but he is not a wizard himself, so that made more sense. And then things that didn't make sense. The Dursleys' relationship with Harry. What are Britain's child labor laws of the 90s? Because Harry works like a dog, and like Harry does all of the work in the Dursley household. and no one seems to pay attention, not even neighbors or child services. Like, no one's going in to check up on Harry and making sure he's doing all right. And he's gone for most of the year because he's at Hogwarts. So how, like, I guess it's to move the story that this boy belongs in the wizarding world, because Lord Almighty, child services, where the heck are they? One thing that I just will not understand is why Percy Weasley is a grade A party pooper. He has the best family in the entire wizarding world, and he always seems to have a stick up his butt, deducting 5 points from Gryffindor because he's a prefect and he wants to be perfect. He acts all weird and he just looks down on his family, and he literally has the best family ever. Like, what the hey, Percy? What the hey? I still don't get it. He's such a weird child. And finally, I think where we'll end off is, of course, my favorite moments of the book, and I definitely have to give a shout out to Arthur Weasley. His love of muggles is so pure and precious, and I never want him to change. He sounds so awesome. That whole Weasley family, like, they're just really the most interesting and most wonderful people. Even Arthur Weasley and Lucius Malfoy get into a fight, a physical fight, and they did not put that in the movie, and I'm very upset about it. Just would love to see them going at it, like that tension at work in the ministry, and they just like whoosh, 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 you know? Oh my god, poor Ron was such a comedic relief. I laughed so hard with the vomiting of slugs, and when they go to see Aragog and Ron's like, spiders. It's so funny. It's just hilarious. Finally, I know this is like, why haven't I mentioned him? But Dobby! Yes, Dobby the house elf. Everybody's gonna hate me for saying this, but I kind of found Dobby a little annoying in the movies because I didn't understand what his whole purpose was. I just thought he was really annoying, and he just cried inconsolably. I mean, I cry like that too, so I could relate. Dobby was like, this is for your own good, and you're like, why are you doing this, Dobby? And it all comes full circle, and so I'm glad he's freed at the end. He's such a cute little character, and I feel bad for having ill feelings towards Dobby because I thought he was annoying or something, but he might have been a little bit annoying, but his heart was always in the right place. So last time I found the most famous quote from the Sorcerer's Stone from Dumbledore, and of course it wouldn't be an ending of an Espresso Patronum if I didn't have a favorite quote from Dumbledore again. It's when Harry realizes he should have been placed in Slytherin but was placed in Gryffindor, and Dumbledore, of course, the wisest of wise, says, "It is our choices, Harry, that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities." You know, it's true. It's our choices and what we decide to do than what we can do, you know? Potter, food for thought. But I was very happy to read this book. It was a great book to read. This book, when it was made into a movie, this movie was the longest Harry Potter movie, almost 3 hours. So, you know, they really tried to make everything the way it was supposed to be. I'm excited to read the next book. I don't have the book again as well. The Prisoner of Azkaban, I'll just, right here. And The Prisoner of Azkaban is usually a lot of people's favorite book. So I'm really excited to read that one, especially because I love Remus and Sirius. So thank you guys for watching this episode of Espresso Patronum. I can't wait to see you in my next episode. Please remember to like and subscribe for more Harry Potter and Disney related content, and I will see you guys very soon.